On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder finished strong against the Detroit Pistons and come away with another win, a record-setting win, a record that might not be broken. Plus, did the Thunder find their playoff rotation? And let's talk about how to defend this Thunder team.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your teams every day. I'm your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by FanDuel. Make sure you check them out today at FanDuel.com because new customers get $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. We're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder and their win over the Detroit Pistons. Now, this win was special. In fact, it was historic. So, last game against the Chicago Bulls, the Thunder were able to secure the best ever record against a cross-conference opponent because they've only, at that point, could have only lost twice to the East, even if they fell tonight. They didn't fall tonight. So, they end up with a resume that features one loss to a cross-conference opponent. The second best ever mark, 3 losses. So to fall only one time to the East is a feat that I don't think will ever be broken. And not just the East, like cross conference, so like East to West even. Now we'll have to see what the breakdown is, I guess, for the new schedule once this league expands, as that's on the horizon. So maybe like you see a team who only has to play a cross-conference opponent once per season or something, to where like it'd be a little bit easier, I guess, to run the table. I don't think that's going to change at all. So I think that this record will never be touched. Like to expect a team to ever be unblemished in a cross-conference slate is very, very, very tough. No team's ever done it before. No team's ever done better than 3 losses to the opposite conference. We've had a lot of great teams in NBA history, and no team's done this. So this is a massive milestone for OKC, secured by this game and win over the Detroit Pistons, 119-113. The first item on the agenda, and a lot of these items today are like big picture stuff that is more than just the reaction to this game. This game merely serves as a launching point for the conversation. But the starting 5 tonight of SGA, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren would be my starting 5 if I was Mark. And I always say, lucky for you guys, I'm not Mark, or else you would have seen a lot more Darius Bazley minutes in his time. Let me tell you that. I was clearly wrong on that. But this starting 5 to me gives you, as Hannah Montana would say, the best of both worlds. I really like what it does offensively. I really love what it does defensively. And that's not a criticism or critique or poking holes necessarily at the other lineups that they can play. And this is why I'm, in this instance, now, not when I check my bank account tonight, but in this instance, I am not envious of Mark, because this is a tough decision to make. And I always say I don't envy the decision whenever it comes to topics like this, because you can think out the decision and have it be logical on either side of the aisle. Those are in life the toughest decisions to make. No one's ever envious of having to make a decision that's a slam dunk, like drafting Cooper Flagg number 1 or Wembanyama number 1. Or if you have a job offer that's going to pay you $6 million, and then another job offer that's going to pay you $100,000. Oh, I don't know. What job are you going to take, right? Or another job that's going to pay you $20,000 a year. Like, hello, you're going to take the highest paying gig, all things considered, right? All things being equal. Those are clear-cut decisions that, I'm envious of, like how easy the decision is because it's a good thing. It's great. You're going to get paid more money. I'm not envious of decisions where all the outcomes look to be logical, reasonable, and sound, and you just got to really pick one. You just got to really go for one of them and embrace one of them fully. To me, I think that the Thunder will benefit from having the flexibility of all these lineups looking great in the long term. But I am curious how they're going to initially start things. How, like, someone's got to start game 1 of the playoffs. We can keep kicking the can down the road of being like, well, matchups and they're versatile. Well, 5 guys got to be on the floor to start the game 1 of the playoffs. And to me, these are the 5 guys that I would go with. And it's no knock on any other lineup because, again, they're all really good and have different strengths. To me, this lineup is so strong because defensively, this is your identity to a core, to the roots. Like you have an elite rim protector, an elite defensive anchor on the back end of 4 elite point of attack defenders with Lou, with J Dub, with Cason, and then Shai this year. Look at his numbers. Like he's stellar. He's not going to get the recognition necessarily that he deserves, but he's stellar on that end. And it's so rare to see a star be stellar on that end. But you have 4 bona fide elite defenders, just as elite defending talents. And then like your fifth guy, Shai, who's also good at defense, who's also really, really good. And so it's like the ability to switch 1 through 5 to me is so appealing and it's so suffocating. And the ability to have 3 of your best point of attack defenders out there, but also 3 of your best ball hawks of just nose for the ball. You can play the passing lanes. You can be in somebody's jersey, getting the ball away. You cannot dribble around them. They just box you in. They make you claustrophobic, and they really end your offensive possessions. And to do that out of the chute of a playoff game, especially one at home where the crowd's going to be into it for every stop, I think seamlessly gets you on the pathway to success. And that's what the starting lineup's really about to me. The starting lineup to me is about how you start to get on the highway, right? How you start to accelerate on the on-ramp, merge onto your lane, and figure out your cruise control later. And then to me, the starting lineup of just being able to just smother teams defensively is so encouraging. Not to say that the double big lineups is bad defensively, but you can't rotate as crisp with double big lineups. You just can't at this point in time. You do take Chet away from the rim slightly more than you'd like to. You do raise more questions, comparatively speaking, about switching 1 through 5 than the alternative. And again, these are only issues, quote unquote, sarcasm issues, because of how good these traits are comparatively, the trade-offs of these traits comparatively. That's how good this Thunder team is. That's how I don't envy the decision, because it's a very tough one to split the hairs and make. And then offensively, I've talked ad nauseum about how good I find the double big lineups offensively and how they've really found their stride on the offensive end. I still stand by that. I still think that they've really picked up the pace of how they play offensively. They're in like the 90-something percentile of offensive rating. They're awesome. I also am a believer, and maybe this is where I shouldn't have this personal bias, but I do. I'm a believer of rhythm and catching a groove and comfortability, especially as young players on big stages. That to me, just eye test. Chet Holmgren, looks more comfortable offensively playing the 5 right now. J-Dub looks more comfortable playing with the space that Chet provides as someone who hangs out and is respected at the 3-point line, and more tightly respected at the 3-point line than comparatively to Hartenstein, and who doesn't need to get to the mid-paint and to get to the baseline and to get to the low block to really be effective as a scorer. So to me, it helps your 2 youngest guys be comfortable offensively to start a game. That's another big selling point for why I would have the starting lineup as the starting lineup in the playoffs if I was the head coach. And then you do what you did tonight. Like, you didn't abandon anything tonight. You still stayed versatile. You still stayed flexible. You still worked in every single possible lineup combination. I mean, shout out to Nick Gallo, tweeting about how the Thunder did play Kenrich at the 5 tonight, which they did. Like, they still did everything. They left everything on the table tonight. They didn't take any option away, but they started strong. And like Chet totaled in the last 3 games, I believe the stat is, he had 9 points. In the first 7 minutes tonight, he had 9 points. He was just really good, really active, really comfortable. The flip side of that coin is, and why I don't think that this is a slam dunk, I think it's one man's opinion, which doesn't mean a lot, is because he was also, I think his best game still of his return from the hip injury was against Boston, whenever he played with Isaiah Hartenstein. So, it is what it is. We'll see how they end up starting, but that's kind of where I'm at. And again, it's not a reaction to this game. This game just serves as a launching pad for this conversation, because these core guys have been really good together for 2 straight years. And they've been really good together this year. And, I've talked about Cason in the starting lineup the entire season. Whenever the Thunder were rotating who that 5th starter would be between him and Joe and Wiggins, like back then, I was talking about Cason needs to be the guy. So, I mean, this is not reactionary or, um, you know, kind of persuade by one game. It's just kind of this game was a perfect opportunity to talk about it again. Coming up, let's talk about the zone defense. A very much topic of conversation around Bricktown, but should it be? I don't think so. But first, I want to say right now, but our good friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today and get started because the NCAA tournament is here. Final Four is here as well. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. That's $200 in bonus bets to use on anything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting the nets down. Go check it out today at FanDuel.com and get in on the action with the college hoops season. That way you never miss out. And of course, if you're a new customer, you get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. If you're only an NBA fan, do not worry. FanDuel.com has NBA lines for you where the Lakers are hosting the Warriors. The Lakers are 2-point favorites. Go check that out today at FanDuel.com. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. We're talking right now about the Thunder and the zone. And I thought that tonight, the Thunder needed a lot of credit for sticking with it tonight, sticking with their approach, sticking with the game, a game that got muddied at times. So Detroit starts out 2-0. Past that, they never led again. The game was never tied again. J-Dub hits a three to make it 3-2. Game never so much as tied again, much less the lead changes hands. The Thunder build up a 17-point lead. They end up winning 119-103. And yet, here we sit with the Thunder shooting 43% from the floor, 26% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. A large reason why is defensively. Like they had 18 turnovers defensively forced for 18 turnovers for Detroit. They kept Detroit shooting 40% from the floor, 30% from three. And then Detroit did shoot 84% from the free throw line, but that's of course not about defense. But still, 18 turnovers, 40% from the floor, and then 30% from three. Not good watermarks for Detroit. So credit to the Thunder's defense for staying in touch with their identity and punching back when Detroit did go on runs at the end of the second quarter to close out at halftime and get it under, I think it was like a 3-point game, 4-point game at halftime. And then they made another run in the fourth quarter, getting it back into single digits and getting it right around that 6-point mark, 7-point mark in the fourth quarter. The Thunder eventually regained control from actually got it under 5 points in that fourth quarter a couple times for Detroit. And the Thunder still spiraled the lead way back up above 15. So the Thunder stuck with it. And how did they stick with it? Well, they kept generating good shots. It sounds so simple, but this is why I stressed to you after that Minnesota game and that Cleveland game where the zone defense stuff was at a fever pitch. Don't play the results on this one. Play the process. Because at the end of the day, there's no greater sport in the landscape of American sports that crowns a champion than the NBA, a true champion. Because to beat a team in basketball 4 out of 7 times, it's like no other sport. Obviously in football, it's a single game elimination. Anything can happen any given Sunday, rah, rah, rah. Even in hockey is inherently, it appears to be, at least as a hockey novice. Do not follow hockey too much. I know about Marty Turco and Mike Modano. That's about where I stop with my hockey coverage. It seems like they're more prone to upsets, even though they have the same formats. Because you can get a hot goalie at the right time and you can skate. Yeah, your morning skate feels really good, and all of a sudden you have an upset. Then baseball is just the flukiest of them all. I mean, baseball, that's how baseball go. I mean, there's just such fluke involved. I mean, my favorite baseball team, who's only made the playoffs 3 times in my lifetime, the Kansas City Royals, like they should have never went to the World Series once in their back-to-back year run that ended with the World Series, much less been there twice and won one. That was all built on fluke and luck and just grinded out baseball. They were by no means the best team in baseball either one of those years. Even as a fan, I can admit that. But basketball inherently is not built on luck whenever you're talking about playing the game straight up. Now, do you need luck to go your way? Yes, because you need to stay healthy, which you can consider that luck. You stay healthy. You need things to go according to plan in the sense of like last year. PJ Washington couldn't really account for him becoming an amazing shooter in that series against OKC. Boston defends them the exact same way, the exact same process of defending Dallas with leaving PJ, leaving Derrick Jones Jr. Dallas did not have enough to overcome Boston. Now, with that being said, Boston did a lot more right offensively and a lot more right just in general, and we're a better team, obviously, than OKC was a year ago. So that plays into it too. What I'm trying to say here is I feel like in basketball, more so than any other sport, you can hold up the brackets and the results as legitimate. So you just need to keep doing the right things over and over and over again and trust that they're going to bear out and that they're going to balance out. Just like taking that same Dallas series. They were leaving guys wide open. They were selling out to stop Shai. If those guys hit shots the way that PJ Washington did, that doesn't make it a bad strategy. It's just a better result, right? And so Dallas had enough of those win the series. And I think of the zone defense is the same way. It's an imperfect solution to a impossible problem. Like this Thunder team's a problem. Solving that offensively is going to be a problem. Take it from your own head coach in OKC. Mark coaches a historically great defense, and he'll admit to you, you can't take away everything in this league anymore. I mean, they're just too good, too talented, etc. And the zone has been held up as this scheme to foil the Thunder, right? Just go blitz Shai at the timeline, play heavy zone, double him, get the ball out of his hands, and it's all going to come crumbling down, right? Well, no, right? It's not, because they're going to generate awesome shots. Because from the word go of this rebuild, they've only talked about bringing in playmakers, and everybody's a playmaker, everybody's live, everybody's versatile, except you know all the cliches. And they're going to be able to generate good shots. Now, generating the good shots doesn't mean that you hit them. Case in point, Minnesota. It's why I did a whole film review on Thunder on SI for that Minnesota game, because the shots were perfect, picture perfect. And you would have bet your bottom dollar if before you saw the results, if I freeze framed it as the shot was leaving the player's hand, do they make or miss this? On 90% of them, you would have said make. They didn't go in that night. Tonight, they stuck with it again. They were generating good threes, and the threes weren't falling. We just read off that they only shot 26% from three, but they stuck with it. And the reason that you're not freaking out right now is because Lou Dort got a shooter's role, because eventually it had to swing back to the Thunder's way of keep doing the great things and the results follow. So it swings back to Lou Dort. He goes 4 for 9 from three. He delivers the death nail of that three that caromed off the rim, nearly touched the heavens, and then plunks back down through the net. And that's how you win the game. Again, if you got one good shooter's role like that against Minnesota, you win that game too. It's the same process. It's the same good decision-making. It's the same good shot generation. Sometimes the ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But over the course of a 7-game series, this team is so talented that I believe the shots are going to go in more than they don't over a 7-game series. You're going to lose some games. Like, I'm here to tell you, you're going to lose some games in the playoffs. You're probably going to lose some games because of zone defense, because they are forcing the issue of getting the ball out of Shai's hands, and he is getting guys open looks from three, and they aren't hitting. But that's not going to happen 4 times out of 7 games. I don't believe. Maybe it will, but I just don't believe it. I don't believe that the zone is some boogeyman for this Thunder team because they're still generating good looks. It'd be one thing if, like it was early on, especially against that Cavs game. I believe it was a Cavs game where the Cavs forced the Thunder into just not getting shots off, turning the ball over, shot clock violation, like not getting the ball to the ring. Like, that's the problem with the zone defense that you can run into. That's been a problem once this year, and like they've solved that problem. So the fact that they're not turning the ball over and they're just simply missing open looks, to me, it's something that you can get away with, but not something you want to rely on. You can get away with going 90 miles an hour on the highway. You can. And it'll work. You might get from here to Lawton going 90, never get a ticket on that destination trip. You might get into Lawton, head down Cash Road, and you start going 48. Lights come on. Ticket. Here you go. Because it comes due eventually. It swings back around eventually. But if you're doing the right thing every time you're in the car and you're not speeding, you're never going to get a ticket for speeding. Ever. You're going to be fine. I think it's a similar thing here. With like the zone defense, could it work? Yes. It could, quote unquote, work because that they missed open shots. But that's the same thing as the PJ Washington example that everyone pulls their hair out about. Like, it didn't work for OKC. It did work for Boston. But it's the answer you had to give on the test because everything else was so good. Because Luka and Kyrie were so good, the answer to the test was just leave open Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ and live with it. Live with it. If they beat you, they beat you, whatever. They beat the Thunder, didn't beat Boston. You go back and watch those series, they play each other the exact same way. And for the Thunder, the answer is, hey, can't let Shai just dice us up all the time, playing him straight up. They have a lot of talented scorers. We feel comfortable with playing a zone, which we know is susceptible to giving up threes, but they're a little bit of a streaky three-point shooting team. It's the best solution that we have on the table for a team that is just seemingly a juggernaut and an elite franchise, an elite team, an elite squad. You got to pick something to do. All this to say, I think that the Thunder have handled zone defenses extremely well over the last month, including tonight, even as the results don't look as pretty as you'd want them to in the pretty perfect stat column. Coming up, let's talk about this game. Wrap it up as the Thunder beat Detroit. There's never been a more perfect day to talk to you about our good friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Daylight saving time has snuck up on us again. If you're feeling the lost hour of sleep still to this day, believe me, I'm feeling lost sleep right now. 8:30 tip. I've had to record this podcast twice now because your beloved host, hopefully beloved and not bemind, host, left the soundboard on mute for 30 minutes. I was giving you passionate takes for 30 minutes. Nobody but my own brain heard them, and my brain's a scary place. That wouldn't have happened. That lapse in focus wouldn't have happened if I had 5 Hour Energy. Because it has my back. It has my back with extra sunshine. It means more fun out there with the extra sunshine. And you need a little boost to power through. And that's where 5 Hour Energy has my back, is that boost to power through these late night tips, even with the NCAA tournament that's going to be tipping off in the Final Four. The Thunder, spoiler alert, playoff rolls around. They're going to be playing a lot on 8:30, 9 o'clock tips. You're going to want to be prepared for that with 5 Hour Energy. When you have those busy days, need a refresh or a quick pick-me-up, whatever you need, go check it out today with 5 Hour Energy. Find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. If you need one right now, go grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Again, the Thunder did a great job of forcing turnovers, holding the Pistons to a low shooting splits, and obviously only scored 103 points in this game. The Thunder lost fast break points, which is always surprising when they do that. The Thunder lost second chance points, but the Thunder were able to lap Detroit in points in the paint. Then you just look down the list of individually. It's become numbing, right? Because of how often they do this. This was a game where you didn't have Wiggins, who was your third best shot generator with the ball in his hands as a go-to scorer in the secondary unit. Kind of in any lineup of just being able to go get to his spots and go get a shot. He's your third best guy. Didn't have him. He's still on the shelf. Didn't have Alex Caruso, who's really playing his best basketball right now. And it goes without saying what he does defensively. He's really finding his role as a off-ball player offensively as well. And then Jay Will, who again is playing the best basketball of his life during this stretch. So you were down 3 key guys, and you still got a very important one on prime time. Now the Pistons were also, to be fair to them, without a lot of guys. I mean, they had the league suspensions to Sasser, Holland, and Stewart. A little bit of in their control, a little bit out of their control, whatever. Cade didn't play in this game. Ivy, of course, is shelved. And then Tobias Harris plays 21 minutes. He did go to the locker room and end his night a bit early because he's dealing with an injury as well. So it was a really hodgepodge group, but the Thunder still fought and were able to get this win. Dylan Jones played 10 minutes tonight. He was a +3, 2 assists, 1 steal. They went to his minutes. Kenrich Williams, I think, deserves a lot of credit off the bench as well. 4 points, 4 rebounds, an assist. He went 0 for 2 from 3, which is a rarity. We just talked about how great he's been from 3 over the last 7 games. Tonight, 0 for 2 will be a bit of a setback in that department. But the way that he scrapped on the glass was really encouraging for a team that just needed stops, which is like defensive rebounds inherently get you a stop. And then needed more bites at the apple offensively because they just were generating good looks, but they weren't hitting them. 2 offensive rebounds there really contribute to that as well. And then Hartenstein. I think that you take what the Thunder did tonight, or at least I would. I would take what the Thunder did tonight and kind of elevate it. Hartenstein came off the bench. He played 23 minutes. Take away the 10 minutes you gave to Dylan Jones, put those 10 minutes on Hartenstein, and then you get 33 minutes, which is like a much more suitable minute log for Isaiah Hartenstein. And it's like, yeah, he didn't start, but you let Chet gain a rhythm, you let Dub gain a rhythm, you let Shai gain a rhythm. Then you lull like the other team into, hey, we're having to defend. Like, think about this first quarter for a second. The first quarter for the Thunder, Shai had 15 points on 83% shooting. Wallace went 2 for 2 as a play finisher inside the arc for 4 points. Chet had 9 points in 7 minutes. Cason was in 7 minutes too. Chet had 9 points in 7 minutes, only missed 1 shot, and it was a 3. Went 3 for 3 at the free throw line because he had more space to operate and get downhill. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. J-Dub had 5 points in 8 minutes. He went 2 for 3 from the floor, 1 for 2 from 3, had 3 rebounds to boot with a block. And then Lou chipped in a 3 as well. He played 9 minutes. Like, that is rough to deal with. Where it's like, boom, not only are they clicking offensively, but like, boom, here's a couple Cason buckets. Here's Chet getting you 9 points out of the shoot in 7 minutes. Here's J-Dub with 5. And then again, the full 12-minute shebang from Shai gets you 15. And you still got Hartenstein 4 minutes in there while playing Dylan Jones 5. It's like you just take what you did tonight, where you perfectly were like a traffic cop, weaving in and out the double big lineup, in and out, where it was still effective, it was still punchy, but you still got enough of the other stuff, right? You still got enough of the single big lineups for each party, but especially for Chet, that it felt very well balanced. It felt really good in this game, with the context of, obviously, these minute totals will rise for every player come playoff time, whenever the stakes are higher. So if I was Mark Early like we did tonight, and I would really look into doing that more often. And I'm very curious about it. And again, I promise you, I will not be doing armchair quarterback stuff. If that's the reaction that you want, it's not going to be from me, because I acknowledge how difficult of a decision that this is going to be for Mark to deploy the lineup that he sees fit, because both of them have logical conclusions and logical means to an end. So I'm very fascinated to see how the ball gets rolling in game one. What if any trends develop of when or why, or what the rhyme or reason is that he likes to deploy each starting lineup, each closing lineup, each death lineup, whatever it is, throughout the course of a game, throughout the course of a series. And we'll get, I think, a heavy dose of it, because I think the Thunder will be playing for a long time and be playing a variety of different matchups, a variety of different teams. Cason was really good tonight overall. 13 points he finishes with, 60% shooting, 1 for 3 from 3. Again, nobody was really on fire from 3 tonight except for Lou, who went 4 for 9. The other best marks were like J-Dub, 2 for 6. And Shai, he hit multiple threes. He hit 2 for 7. Like, those are the only 3 guys who had multiple threes in a single in this single game. It's like, all things considered, like the 1 for 3 is fine from Cason, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, only 1 turnover, plus 11 for Cason Wallace. He was awesome in this game. Hartenstein finishes with 5 and 6. Chet finishes with 22 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 6 blocks. J-Dub has 23 points to go along with 3 assists and 5 rebounds. And Lou has 14 points. Of course he does, on national TV. He's just awesome in big games, folks. But yeah, I thought that Chet was way more comfortable. I thought that Caruso was missed defensively, but picked up by his teammates, because it just shows you the elongated depth of this Thunder team. The fact that you cannot have Caruso in a game like this and still hold an opponent to 103, it just continues to illustrate the buzzwords that we talk about when we talk about embarrassment of riches, when we talk about how historic this defense is. That's gnarly to be able to do that. Coming up, though, on this very show, we'll have another podcast for you tomorrow where we talk, hopefully with a special guest, more about what the playoffs look like. And can the Thunder get 70 games? Will they win 70? They'd have to win out to do so. What do you think? Drop it down below, as well as any other question or concern that you might have, or comment or query or idea or opinion or take that you might have about this Thunder team. Drop it down below. It'll be read on the show tomorrow and reacted to tomorrow. So make sure you're there for that. And then, of course, back again Saturday after the Rockets game to recap that one as well. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Have an exclusive interview with Isaiah Hartenstein out on Thunder on SI that I was really excited about to work on and to pour over. So I hope you give that a read and tell me what you think about that as well. Until next time, be good and be good to one another.